Hello, everybody. What is up? It is Stan the Man, and welcome to another Stan the Man podcast. Happy fucking Easter, everybody. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, even though most of us are probably in quarantine. But Stan, aren't you an atheist? You shouldn't be allowed to have Easter. Shut the fuck up, okay? Atheists are allowed to enjoy Easter, the same as religious people are allowed to enjoy premarital sex, adultery, and alcohol. So, let's get this podcast started. Alright, so first of all, you guys are probably wondering where the hell I've been in the last 2 weeks. Well, we'll get to that later. But first, we're going to go into some international news. Now, when it comes to international news, the US is killing it, both figuratively and literally. They surpass Italy with not only the amount of COVID-19 cases, but officially the amount of COVID-19 deaths as of yesterday. Apparently, the situation is so bad over there that in New York, they even started, burying people in mass graves, which is basically the plot of the Division. If you haven't played the Division games, okay, in the first game, that's basically the fucking plot. But it's not as bad as most people think. I did some research, and apparently the people are being buried at this place called Hart Island, which apparently has been used for mass graves for 150 years. Apparently, people who had no next of kin to claim the body, or people who just never could afford a funeral, they've just been buried there in like these wooden coffins. Like, go on BBC World News. You can actually see the drone footage of how they're basically being buried with like forklifts and diggers and stuff like that. It's really weird. I haven't seen stuff like that since the that fucking tsunami in Indonesia. There's like a video. I remember one video they showed us about the aftermath of that thing, is how they just buried like dozens of people in this one massive grave. But anyway, we'll get to that later. Now, when it comes to the local news, not much. Well, there's not much going on locally. The island is still in a shelter-in-place protocol, and we still have the mandatory curfew at night. So from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., you are not allowed to leave your homes unless it is absolutely necessary, like if you have to work. For example, sometimes I have the night shift, and I have to go out right after 9 p.m. to make it work on time. I've been stopped by the police. I just show them my regular papers, and they're super cool about it, and they let me go. No problem whatsoever. But of course, there are people who just don't fucking listen, but we're not gonna get into that. Also, I tried making a fucking video. On what I do during the day on a daily basis, especially during quarantine. But this is another example of my laptop being a bitch over here. Adobe Premiere Pro decided to crash, and the whole project got corrupted, and I simply did not want to do it again. I literally nearly punched my hand through the fucking screen. I was so goddamn mad. Like, you had one job and you couldn't even do that. But yeah. So the whole point of this podcast is me just talking about, the quarantine lifestyle, what I've been doing, basically how I've been handling quarantine. Now, notice how I said that. How I've been handling quarantine. Now, the reason why I don't say, how to handle quarantine? Well, because everybody's wired differently. Not everybody deals with this in the same way, shape, or form. This is just the way I deal with it. Now, it's no surprise to everyone. I mentioned this in many podcasts before that, I'm not exactly the most extroverted guy. In fact, I consider myself as one of the most introverted people on the planet. I don't usually go out that much, and when I do, I usually go out alone. On a typical Saturday night, it's not unusual to find me just sitting in a corner in a bar someplace having a few drinks by myself. I know that sounds really fucking depressing, but it's awesome. I just find my little corner, sit back, and just knock back a porter, or maybe just a porter or a Guinness, and just watch the night go by. Maybe I'll listen to whoever's playing. I usually go to Alfie's. If you live on Aruba, you probably heard of this place called Alfie's near the church Playa. Fucking great bar. And the owners are Canadians. A fucking nice place to go and just sit and relax. So what I'm trying to say is, it's not that I don't enjoy spending time with people. I do, but I usually try to spend time alone. Even when it comes to other, I go out for runs, I go out for nature hikes and stuff like that. So most of the activities I do alone. And for me, that's really easy. But there are other people out there, they need some type of social interaction or some type of social stimuli in order to function. And unfortunately, that's just not me. I really like, even when I go out with people that I genuinely enjoy spending time with, I have a very small social battery, and when it runs out, it runs the fuck out. Okay, you can feel that fucking light bulb go, boom, done. Like I'm like, something just snaps inside of me. Like, okay, no, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go home. I want to go home right the fuck now. So whenever I went out, I usually go with my own ride. So if that happens, I would just say, okay, goodbye everybody, and just go back home. Oh man. Another question that people have been asking me is how I stay in shape during quarantine. Well, for those who follow me on social media, on Facebook and stuff like that, you guys know that I work out quite regularly, okay? I'm basically required by my job to stay in fighting shape, and I am a firm believer in staying fit. Now, I'm also a firm believer of functional fitness. I don't train to get fucking huge and stuff like that, plus I can't fucking afford to eat that much. So I always try to find that perfect balance of strength and endurance, because I like having the peace of mind knowing that, hey, in case my car flips over or during a crash, I can fucking, I'm strong enough to fucking pull myself out of the goddamn wreckage, you know? I'm strong enough to lift somebody out of the danger zone in case something bad happens, okay? I got enough endurance to run in case it's necessary, that type of stuff. Now, back before the pandemic, I'd usually go and work out 3 times a week. Total body training, mostly focusing on compound movements like deadlifts, squats, pull-ups, overhead presses, and stuff like that. Anything just to get the entire body involved, and I would do cardio twice a week. And cardio mostly consists of me running or jumping rope. Now, it's basically the same during quarantine, but I still work out 3 times per week. But instead of going to the gym, I do mostly calisthenic movements at home, compound calisthenic movements that focus on bringing tension to the whole damn body. Like you do your basic things like the squats, push-ups, and stuff like that, but you add variation to it to make it a little bit more difficult, a little razzle-dazzle, if you will. So, for example, instead of doing squats, I try to do pistol squats. I'm doing assisted pistol squats because that's one of my goals. That's one of my major goals. If I'm going to work out doing nearly nothing but calisthenics, I want to be able to do pistol squats just completely unassisted. Another goal of mine is doing at least 5 sets of 5 handstand push-ups. I remember the first time I tried doing handstand push-ups during this whole fucking thing, I nearly fell down flat on my face, and I could have broken my goddamn neck. Oh man. But so I basically do that 3 times per week, and I combine it with cardio. I warm up by doing jump ropes, and I do jump ropes with cardio. There's like this high intensity exercise I do is basically I jump rope as fast as hard as I fucking can for like 2 minutes straight, and then rest for 30 seconds. 2 minutes, rest for 30 seconds. And I would just repeat that until 20 or 30 minutes go by, and it kicks every inch on my pasty white ass. And I'm gonna be honest, all right, the first time I did, during the first week, it was awful getting used to doing these calisthenic type movements, because your whole body is just under stress to make sure you stay in balance, and to make sure your body is staying upright. For example, doing pseudo push-ups, my fucking god, I remember after the first workout I nearly threw up. Like, I genuinely nearly threw up. It was that difficult. But it is a good feeling knowing that I'm able to stay in shape during this time. And I'm going to be honest, I've been getting leaner. Like, I'm looking at myself in the mirror over the last 4 weeks, and I've been noticing a little bit more definition, especially around my core and chest area. So, who knows? Maybe I might be burning more calories. I'm just fucking experimenting on myself at this point. Oh, man. Another question a lot of people have been asking me is, well, what are the things that I've been doing to actually pass the time during quarantine? Well, like I told you, I'm not much of an extrovert. I just quarantine life, I'm gonna be honest, quarantine life isn't that different than my regular everyday life. Like during my regular everyday life, when I'm at home, I just stay at home, watch Netflix, read a lot, draw a lot, or play some video games, and that's it. Occasionally, I'd go on my guitar or on FL Studio and try to record or write some stupid song. Right now, I got an iPad now. All right, and dude, the amount of songs I made on this thing is just ridiculous. Like I'm even thinking about trying to use the iPad Pro as like a laptop replacement. You never know. So that's been going on in like these last couple of weeks. But like I said, I played my dogs a lot. We got 3 dogs. Brooky's the oldest, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't think he's gonna live for long anymore. I think he's got like 2 or 3 years left in him, maybe even less. There's Charlie, he's the middle-aged one, okay, full of energy, and we got Dory. Dory, I love this dog to pieces. I fucking love this bitch. I love this dog, alright? She is the cutest dog on the planet. But she's also the reason why I know I am never having kids. Like in my 22 years of existence, I have never seen a dog this hyper before in my life. But we're not getting into that. So yeah, that's basically what I've been doing to stay sane. Now, another question that people have been asking is do you think things are going to go back to normal? No, I don't think they will. It really depends on what your definition of normal is. What was normal before the pandemic will be nowhere near as what's normal after the pandemic. For example, this stay-at-home lifestyle, this is becoming our regular way of life as of now. And it might be this way for at least a few months, hell, even a few years, we never know. Okay? It might take forever for us to bounce back from this. And not only that, like even let's say the virus gets cured tomorrow. The economical sanctions or repercussions because of this, who knows how long they're gonna last. I'm no fucking sociologist or economist. I'm not an expert when it comes to geopolitical behavior or some shit, but it's safe to assume that what will be normal after this pandemic will not be the same as what we were used to before the pandemic. I can already imagine a shit ton of money being shoveled into the medical industry, so who knows, the medical industry might be more advanced. A lot of untapped markets will start emerging. Okay, people will develop services that we even thought were impossible, hell, or even just unnecessary. I don't know. Also, a lot of people, what will this mean for society in general? Will this teach a lot of people when it comes to tolerance or just spending more time at home with their family, or just teaching people that, hey, it's okay to slow down and just appreciate things for what they have? I don't know, man. Will this actually change the way we look at our treatment towards the environment? I mean, look at the canals in Venice. The canals in Venice have never been this clear in years. Okay, in China, there's basically no pollution whatsoever. In India, due to strict stay-at-home protocols, okay, there's basically no pollution whatsoever, and it pretty much brings into perspective what kind of changes humanity can bring to the planet if we are willing to make, well, drastic enough changes to our lifestyle. And maybe this virus might be a catalyst for good things to come. But how will they come? I don't know. I really don't know, guys. Okay, like I said, I'm not exactly a sociologist. I'm not an expert in these types of things. I barely managed to graduate high school, so to be honest, this is the type of question you're gonna have to ask somebody who actually knows his or her shit. All right. How I do these podcasts is I go on the internet a little bit. When something catches my eye, I write them down. This is basically the first podcast where I thought, okay, no, I'm gonna sit down and talk about this for about 15 to 20 minutes. But yeah, I don't know. But for now, let's just keep our heads together when it comes to this types of stuff, because like I said, the virus might not be the worst of it. The worst of it is definitely going to be the economical sanctions afterwards. Oh my god, I can't even imagine how the taxes are just gonna fuck us. No lube, nothing, just fucking jamming that shit straight in there in 2021. But yeah, I hope you guys are staying safe over there. This is Stan the Man signing off.